About detox. Last month, we were talking about reducing stress. And this month, right now, I believe we're going to be talking detox. And Dr. Chapa, you're enjoying a nice, juicy, delicious apple. It's a pear. Oh, it's a pear.
A pear, actually.
With a knife.
With a very sharp knife. I'm really excited about it because it even has its own little travel case.
Yeah.
And
is this breakfast or is this a snack? Is this like your second?
This is like second breakfast, I guess. I had 3 or 4 apples this morning and a pear and some applesauce for breakfast, and then here we go, pears. So basically what I'm doing is wanting to say good morning and Happy New Year to everybody.
Yes.
I'm very excited that the New Year is upon us, and hopefully everybody's New Year's was safe and wonderful and great, and I'm just excited that we have a new day to celebrate. And, you guys had a pretty amazing New Year's venue here at the church.
Yes, we did. So my first time to come to church here, and I shared this with you last time, was on Watch Night, like 1996 is what they call it, Watch Night, where you kind of watch and wait for the new year to come in. So, again, I spent my time here at church with my family, and it was an amazing time. But, now... I'm back in the saddle, ready for 2021. I asked you earlier, do you feel any different? And you said,
nope,
feels the same.
It feels the same. It really does. It feels the same, and it feels the same mainly because it's been a few days.
Yeah,
it's just, we don't see the big change. But interestingly, I did get to do a little reflection from last year and look at some old photos and some things that we had been doing over the year, and some things that we'd celebrated and exciting family activities, or just things going on at the office. I mean, we've had lots of change and lots of growth and pushing ourselves forward. I think Jennifer and I were talking yesterday, and she found this cool quote, and it's from Thomas Edison. It says, there ain't no rules around here. We trying to accomplish something. So get out of my way. And I think that's one of the things that I want the new year to bring for me is just to be refocused, that I'm trying to do something amazing, for people. I'm trying to do something amazing for my family, and I want people to either get behind us and following that vision and taking the bull by the horns in their health and wellness, and recognizing that they're in more control of their health than they realize. And, being that it is the new year, people are a little bit more open-minded to health change. And, I want to be a positive influence that helps people know that they can, and that we're a resource for them at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, and that we believe that, all life starts and stops at the cellular level, and nutrition is a fundamental driver of whether or not you get healthy, stay healthy, remain healthy, and maximize your health, or you could make those unfortunate choices that decline you into the pit of despair, the disease land, the symptom land. And all symptoms are nothing more than check engine lights that are a body's cry that you've got some stuff going on. And being willing to put your body into a state of detox, cleanse. You can cleanse anything, whether it's your bowels, whether it's your liver, whether it's your gallbladder, whether it's your circulatory system, your kidney system, your lymphatic system. You can start overhauling your body tissues, and you will see a lot of change in the health realm. You'll see a lot of change in your attitude. You'll see a lot of change in your just confidence. You'll feel like, wow, I'm actively doing something. Instead of letting life happen to you, you're making sure that you're driving it as much as you can. So we trust, God with what we can't do, and we do everything we can do. And I think that's a great attitude to have, going in. And my word for the year, I don't know if I don't know, you had a word, didn't you?
It's groove.
Yeah, it's rap. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, groove. The dude don't move. The dude don't groove.
My word is groove for this year. I want to groove.
I want to groove, and I think that's fantastic. Mine is I want to listen better. I want to make sure that that I'm listening to the Lord, more clearly, or I'm listening to people speaking into my life more effectively, and instead of just letting the words, hit me and bounce off with no change, maybe recognize that some people actually have the courage to tell me something that could help me grow. and I want to be, I want to grow personally. I want to grow spiritually. I want to grow in biochemical knowledge of how to help people get well, stay well, and be well. And somebody told me one time that if you never stop learning from your work, you'll never be without a job. I'll never be out of business. And I always am amazed that I continually learn is what I learn through my office and people lifestyle, things going on. It's just amazing. So wherever you find yourself this morning, remember the old adage, painful, bitter pill to swallow. I mean, you make that bed, you got to sleep in it, but you can change, and you should. And it's fun. Change is fun. It's not. We somehow bought into the idea that change is scary. Do you think change is scary?
So sometimes change isn't comfortable, but change is usually worth it. If it's the right change, then it's worth it. I think right now is the best time to make a change. It's the beginning of a new year, a new calendar. It's still the same me, same you. But like you said, a lot of times it's just the best time to be like, hey, it's fresh. Let's do it. I started the top of the header, the title of this video, if you will, said, this is a 21-day vacation with KHEA Radio and Dr. Aaron Chapa. Who's ready to go on vacation? Who needs a vacation right now? I want to hear from y'all.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody does, right?
Well, and definitely, I think many people go, didn't we just get off of a vacation? Some of us, been on 10-day vacations, 12-day vacations. And was it enough?
Right.
You spend the first 3 or 4 days resting, just recovering from just the idea of a busy year. And, but I was talking to some guys this past weekend, and they were like, oh, but I got year end on Monday morning. I'm dreading it. I mean, one guy's, got GI trouble over it. Well, another guy's got migraines over it, and it's amazing how stuff that's coming, to us, and we know, like, this thing is this monster of a deal of time and resource and blood, sweat, and tears and management can rob us of so much joy and angst in living in the present. And, you got to be careful not to be so focused on the future that we get stuck or regret in the past and miss, what is happening right in front of us. And I'm constantly reminded by that just with my kids, man, today's the day to catch a smile. Today's the day to get them to laugh at something. Last night I'm sucking down some food liquid, which is a high phosphorus product, and I'm making sure, because I had a bottle that was quarter left open from I don't know, several months ago when I was using it. It's so sour, it will turn your cheeks inside out. You want to try some?
You have some right now?
I do.
Is it, what kind of form is it in?
It's
is it powder? It's a liquid form? Sure, I'll try it.
And it's so sour.
I'm down for most things. I'm down for change. I like change. Ooh, okay.
So just take you
How much?
Just take you one full dropper, so it'll be about 20 drops, and swallow it as fast as you can, because it's going to turn your cheekies inside out.
Okay, 20 drops.
Yeah, here he goes. Oh, I just shoot it all down. You're crazy if you do it that way. It's pretty.
Woo!
Yeah.
Man, I like sour stuff, though. That's good. You know what that reminds me of?
What's that?
Sour heads. Is that what they were called?
Or sour power or whatever. But that is, just watching you, I know my mouth's watering over here like, ay, 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 ay.
That's good.
So I do that last night, and man, I wasn't ready for it, and it punched me. And I start making these faces, and my kid looks at me and goes, Daddy, you're so funny. You make
the best faces.
The best faces and the gestures and noises.
Yeah.
Whenever it's something you don't like, you get into. And the gallbladder flush is one of those things of change that, I've always, when I don't feel in control, I feel like I can control something with my diet. And I feel like diet is an important thing to control, because so many times we rely on comfort foods. And comfort foods oftentimes lead to a thicker waistline. Comfort foods lead to, maybe not feeling so good tomorrow, or symptoms that we don't even realize. Like if you're having migraines, or if you've got skin issues, or if you're constantly fatigued and you don't feel like you're the dude that's grooving, and that you want to be, a detox might be a good next start. And so we decided as an office, several of us are doing the gallbladder flush, and I haven't done one in 2 years, and I've been on a pretty strict diet for since late March, April.
Since your late teenage years, that's what I was thinking.
Well, probably, but really 16. Like focused, heavy-hearted, like something's working and something's changed in me for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so the last flush I did, I only had 8 gallstones that I could see, and so I was like, I'm clean, I'm pretty good. Because when I started flushing, this is my 20th one.
Was that a disappointment? Like you only got 8? You're like, man, I was hoping for more, or something you're proud of. Like, there's only 8. Yeah,
because the first time I got almost 100, 75 to 100 little pebbles and stones that you poop these out,
Mm-hmm.
And because people always go, what do you mean you get these out? Like you pee those out? That sounds painful. They think kidney stones. These are not kidney stones. These are gallstones. And so what I've kind of come to realize is that I think that everybody's got sludge. They've got stones, whether they're liver stones, because they'd be black, they'd be tan, they'll be the bile ducts, or if they're gallbladder, they'll be green. And everybody probably has lots of stones or sludge or trash built up in their tissues, but nobody's willing to do, a flush to overhaul that tissue. And some of it's because it's weird. Some of it's because it's personally challenging. You eat apples and pears and applesauce for 3 days.
And that's it?
That's it.
Sounds delicious.
And 15, but 14 apples a day or 14 pears or some combination of fruit.
Keeps the gallbladder stones away.
And what happens is you're starving the body of fat. And by starving the body of fat, you're allowing your bile production to continue to rise. And then on day 4, you drink 4 ounces of olive oil, 4 ounces of lemon juice, which I'll probably video that and somehow post that somewhere just for fun. And but I'll put cinnamon and ice with mine because, it's a little bit sour. And, I'm already thinking, I'm getting watering just thinking about it, but sometime during the night of day, going into that 5th day, you're going to pass gallstones, and you'll feel all kinds of changes in your body, and it's quite amazing to clean house, and so starving the body of fat for those 4 days builds up that production of bile, and any sludge or backlog will get pushed out when the contraction of 4 ounces of olive oil come down the hatch.
Mm.
And so when you put that in on the night of day 4 and go to bed, you're going to see the something amazing happen the next day. And the whites of people's eyes get, crystal. It is amazing to see. They feel alive. Their skin looks radiant. They just feel really good. On the flip side, it's just going into it, or is a person willing to put themselves into the sparring ring and work themselves over? And and people over the years that were old friends and stuff that I went to high school with, be like, oh, you got to be careful, like you don't even know what you're doing. And I'm like, dude, this is like it's not like I just made this up and I'm just experimenting. I'm experimenting on myself with an idea that has been tested, and I've even improved it. We add products like the FOS food, which basically melts down the stones. We use the apple pectin and or the fibrous pectin from the pears to soften stones so that the FOS food works more effectively. Then we bring in things like choline to dilate the ducts of the gallbladder and the liver so that the ducts are open and pliable. And so we use choline to help open those channels. And that way that things are able to get through more easily. So now I've got soft stones and melted stones that are going through a wider, ductal system, and it's just awesome. And to know that we have this kind of technology, we use the liver ND or the gallbladder ND, which is going to be milk thistle. It's going to be turmeric. It's going to be different anti-inflammatories to really press and push health into the liver. So the reason I decided to go with the liver ND over the gallbladder ND is, one, my nutritionist told me that's what I need to take, so I'm being a good patient. Because remember, if you find yourself the patient and the doctor, you found yourself a fool for a patient.
I was going to ask about that. You have a nutritionist that you work with.
Yes, I work with Jennifer, and she bosses me around and tells me what to eat on the programs and what supplements to take, and even when I don't want to. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, I don't really like gallbladder flushes. They're not my favorite one. I love the detox. I love the eating. I just don't love this one, but I also recognize that sometimes we do what we need to do, not necessarily because we like it, but because it's necessary, to make sure that the liver and the gallbladder are working like they're supposed to. Because the bile has such an important role in heart health. Bile has an important role in digestive health, in digesting fats and lubricating the GI tract and helping to seal and heal some of the weak links in the gut lining from food irritation or drug irritation or dehydration and things that we put ourselves through that aren't healthy. Bile can be a really, amazing lifesaver. And so we put together these programs and protocols that we know are liver protective, that are going to be nourishing to the gallbladder and liver. It's like tenderizing areas of the body that might have been scar tissued this past in 2020. There's a lot of reasons people might have had scar tissue build up. They may have had too much to drink. They may have had too much sugar. They may have overindulged in the wrong foods, inflammatory foods, and not realized that the things that they thought you do whenever there's a storm, but yet the storm never lifted, and they kept doing those things, and now they found themselves in a little bit of a conundrum, and so doing programs like this allow you to reset the tissue, and it's a great way for me. I use this as a mega kind of restriction going into the detox. Man, it's just way easier mentally to do something hardcore and then do something a little seemingly less hardcore because I have more variety of food on the detox program, which we'll talk more about, as the month unfolds. But man, just really want to encourage people, like taking the bull by the horns, like find a tribe, and at Living Well, we are a tribe of people that are going through the process. We're not going to ask you to do something we're not willing to do, and so these aren't just simple ideas. Hey, you could maybe try this. This is things that we have done to effectively change the biochemical makeup so that your body performs better. And remember, your liver has got over 600 different biological processes that it is working in the body. And I would bet that it's every biological process is being affected by the liver. The gallbladder, is an interesting little sac that lives underneath the liver, and people wonder, or many people say that you don't have to have it. Well, I don't know if that's entirely true. I mean, because being a Bible-believing man, I don't think God makes mistakes. And so if God put it in there, I think simply just on the note of, how I believe that God designed the body, I think that we have a need for that gallbladder. And I think it's more than just digestion. And like I said earlier, there's been ties to heart health and gallbladder and the bile production. And I think that patients that have lost their gallbladder, so people go, I don't have a gallbladder, so I don't have to worry about that. Don't change the dial, because the reality is I do believe that what I have seen in practice is that many patients that have, quote unquote, a gallbladder surgical removal process still pass green stones, and you got to ask where are those coming from.
Yeah,
and so what if your body regrew a gallbladder sac? What if it some modulatory change because you had yours surgically removed, but your body said, well, I got injured. Somebody stole my gallbladder in the night, and so I'm going to store up bile somewhere, so I've got to rebuild the sac. And the blueprints are there. We forget the body has the blueprints to redesign the tissue. The challenge is when the tissue is degenerating faster than it's regenerating, and the body gets confused or just can't keep up, and then there's a balance issue in bad tissue versus good tissue, and that's called disease. That's called dis-ease. That's called symptoms. That's called diagnosis. That's called that you're on drug therapy to, fix your problem. And we want to be a resource at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center to get you off the drugs. It's kind of cool to have a knife in your hand.
People listen more.
I know. It's like
I had that happen with when I had my my baseball bat over here.
Always, having it on your shoulder.
Yeah, people listen more when you have a weapon or something in your hand like that.
Like, wow. Yeah, and one of my patients came in yesterday, and he goes,
"See,
yeah,
just feels better too,
It does. Just in case. I mean, you just never know what's going to happen.
Who's going to walk through that door? If like some cheese walks in, I'm going to knock its head off. Stay away from me.
Kurt, don't come in today.
Not today.
And not today. He's on a
Any
roll.
other day, but today.
I got a knife, and there's a baseball bat on Gardy's shoulder. We are locked and loaded.
Pretty much ready for anything.
I mean, this could be one of those days where we have like a marathon of like our own song. We just lock the doors and we just play the same song over and over like they used to.
People will not. They would walk by and be like, "Keep going." Chapa and Gardy take over KHEA radio.
I got plenty of apples.
We got enough
applesauce.
We have enough of this
supplements.
Fast food to survive.
I mean, we could definitely have some fun with that. And but I mean, I just always wonder, how come nobody's ever taught us that changing the oil on the tissues is a good idea? Like we change the oil on our car. We do radiator flushes or engine flushes to overhaul, the engine and just kind of clean it up a bit. It's not going to hurt anything to get that metal shavings and debris out of there. I mean, what if it gives your car an extra 15,000 miles? What if it gives it, another year, and a half or two? Or you just never know what maintenance will do. And the challenge with prevention is you don't know what you're preventing, because preventing means it never happened, right? Dude, I'm all for never developing a diagnosable disease. I'm all for never having a diagnosis of cancer, never having a heart attack, never having another migraine ever. Can somebody say amen?
Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen. Can somebody give us a thumbs up? I'm going to give myself a thumbs up, because I sure as heck hope somebody could get excited about not having whatever symptom that you deal with on a regular basis to never, ever happen again. I mean, how much better would your life be if that was not one of your issues? Mm-hmm. I mean, what if it was just achy joints? Too often people come in and they've got knee pain and hip pain, or they got shoulder pain, and it can be absolutely liver congestion. And if the liver's backed up, the bile ducts are backed up and the gallbladder's challenged, and digestion, therefore, is challenged. And so we've got to make sure that we're giving the body ample opportunity to clean out the cells. And when you clean out some of your major metabolic detox pathways, liver, gallbladder, bowels, all of a sudden the rest of the body seems to not be an issue. Like if you ever, and this is gross because I hate it, but if you ever clean out a drain sink and you don't have to take it apart, you stick one of those little drain weasels down there and turn it a few times and pull up whatever filth and nasty that comes up, and all of a sudden the drain's fine. The problem wasn't the drainage system. The problem was there was a blockade in the way, and you had to get that out of there. Mm-hmm. And so detoxing, gallbladder flushing, kidney flushing, circulatory cleansing, it is amazing technology that we offer at Living Well. And we have some of these things, mentioned on our website at justlivewell.com if you're interested, or just give us a call at 281-554-8600, and we'll, give you some more insight.
Something else about the detox, I was asking about the text number, because I know during the fall, like that second one there was, so you can text Detox21, Detox21, and the number is 474747, Detox21, 474747. If you text that, it's going to send you some info. Someone's going to be in contact with you and answer all your questions about the detox.
And tonight we have a class, and the class is going to be the do's and don'ts, the how-tos of the detox program coming up. The Ultimate Detox program, we're launching it on the 11th, and as kind of a global kickoff, right? But we have patients that already started. We got patients that their work schedule forced them to get after it during the holidays, which is perfect because they were fine with that. We have patients that will start after the 11th. Don't let the time that we kind of dictate to prevent you from doing it if you really want to. In 21 days of a stress-free vacation from stimulants and sugars and junk foods, I'm telling you, is a must in the 21st century. I always say, if you're not detoxing in the 21st century, you're missing a huge piece of your healthcare plan. And so when it comes to detox, I just constantly remind people that it's safe, it's effective. It affects your thyroid, it affects your endocrine system, how your hormones are balanced. It affects your blood sugar. It changes your elimination pathways, your immune responsiveness changes. It is positively an amazing program, no matter where your health is. I mean, I've got cancer patients that go through this program. I've got patients just with extreme GI trouble, and we just have to find, and build protocols to help people move through at, wherever their health condition is. So we might change yours a bit. It's not, there is a common, supplement protocol that we put with it to drive that detox pathway. However, we modify it for kids. We modify it for patients on certain medications and
pregnant and people who are pregnant or expecting. Or?
Pregnant, we just steer them away from detox because their body is doing so much already in the form of building a baby and taking care of their own needs. And detoxing could be releasing toxins into the bloodstream, which we do not really want going to the baby, and can. And the same kind of goes with breastfeeding moms. So we don't detox them as much, but we definitely clean up the diet.
Can take stuff out that you were having before.
That's right, because if you just taking things out, and putting healthier things in, well, then now your breast milk is being more nutritionally dense, so that the baby gets better quality milk. And I think that's an important part of coming off the holiday, getting out of the comfort food zone, and realizing that, all right, well, I gained the COVID-15, and I decided I'm going to see if I can reduce that. And so, yes, detox, 21-247-4747, and get more information. I mean, you will be very excited if this is your first. You'll be even more excited if this is your third or fourth. I mean, everybody that goes through the process, and we teach 42 days a year of detoxification. This is the golden year of detox, 21 days during 2021. It's pretty exciting. And, I teach 42 days of the year as to be detoxing and focusing on this. And I don't care if you do that, in groups of 10 days at 4 times throughout the year. That's close enough to 42. Or if you do 2 21-day programs that we offer. And this is my 42nd detox, so I'm kind of excited. The golden year of detox for all of you guys, and the golden year for me means that this is my 42nd experience on the detox program, and I'm kind of excited about that.
And you're 42 years young, right?
And I will be 42 this year, but I'm not 42 yet. I'm
not yet.
Still currently 41.
When's your birthday?
And October 25th. And this is a really monumental. You just gave me another number to tag into my 42 there, and so maybe I'll be on a detox or something on my birthday. That'd be just
the ultimate.
You're
gonna achieve.
You're nuts.
Like you're gonna start
cake for
floating
birthdays.
And just be like all knowledge when it comes to health and nutrition.
Lifting drinks. That's right. Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna be full of knowledge.
Burp it out.
Burp it out to all of you guys so that y'all have it. It's better than the other way.
Yeah. Right now it's 9:31. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. So earlier we were talking about the gallbladder flush. And one thing that I've noticed, so all of the supplements that y'all carry, they're in these brown bottles. And it kind of reminds me of, I don't know if this is the right word, but like the apothecary or like the old pharmacist, like in movies. And is that on purpose?
Well, I don't think it's for the look as much, although the look is cool now that you bring it up. But that brown amber-like bottle restricts light from getting into there. And then it preserves the plant. It preserves the product. And so the companies that we use are very particular about how to make sure that what is on the label at the potency described will be there on the expiration date of the product. And legally they have to do some of that, so they have to make sure. But light affects these things, right? And so when you break that seal and air starts getting, exposed to it, it changes, the product.
It's like surgery. You talk about once you open your body, it changes the inside. Light gets in there, air gets in there, different
that's right.
things. Yeah.
Oxidation starts to happen. And so that's why, you want to open a bottle and consume the bottle, at the dose that we prescribe, or even at minimum the dose on the bottle. Oftentimes people in our office, especially the new people, because there's so many, pharmaceutical ads that have trained people of side effects and bad experiences, that they say, well, are you sure I'm supposed to take this much? I mean, you got 6 written down a day, and the bottle says 2.
I noticed that on this. It said, you said 20 drops. I looked on here. I was like, it says 10.
Yeah. So there's what we call a, cover your assets dose, that the company has to follow in case you get a hold of these products and you don't have somebody that is clinically trained to use these products. And then there is the clinical therapeutic dose that your nutritionist, like myself, like Jennifer, like Dr. Amber, like Molly, like these people are coming together to help us push this vision forward. We know how to use these products. We've taken the classes. We're working through the programs. We're working the programs ourselves, so that we understand the terrain. Again, we're never going to ask you to do something that we're not willing to do or have been doing regularly for many more years than you have probably. And that's cool. Because who wants to be the guinea pig? Nobody should want to be. It seems like people are lining up for some of that stuff these days. But at the end of the day, I've always just kind of put myself on the chopping block to be willing to, experiment with protocols and programs, but way long before I'd put, a patient on it. And then my mother, she's always been a good guinea pig, and her and I have worked through tons of detoxes. We were vegan for 6 months. You know what I mean? We've done a lot of stuff. We'd drive into Houston to this doctor's office, and him and his wife were teaching vegan living and raw food living, and it was fun. And it was a lot of work though. All you felt like you were ever doing was eating, and so maybe in retirement or something, if I'm not blazing the trail at the level I am right now, I'll have time to sit around and just eat nothing but raw food all day. But I love it. You definitely feel better when you're putting all those phytonutrients and phytochemicals in. There's a ton of biophotons in good crop, and that's raw. And last, I guess maybe 2 years ago, asparagus was my new favorite food, but raw. So and this year I started sprinkling onion powder and garlic powder over the asparagus, and oh my goodness, totally legit. I know you're writing it down. You're like, hey, that's a good idea. Asparagus, raw, and onion powder. Okay, and grocery list.
Got it.
And it literally changes the taste, and it gives you a little punch, and it tastes really good. And it crunches in your mouth, so the texture is different. And every detox that I've done, I've learned a new food that I appreciate. And so one of the things that I do with my kids is I'm constantly trying to get them to just try new foods. And it takes approximately 17 exposures to the palate to get little Johnny to like any new food or appreciate new texture. But don't give up just because they don't like it once. Just get them to taste it every now and again over the course of the 17 years they're in your home. And guess what's going to happen? Sooner or later, they're going to
get hungry and have to eat it.
That's
no, they'll learn to love it. They'll learn to like it. They'll learn
to love it. That's right.
Yeah.
No, but but they will appreciate the bitter. They will appreciate texture. You'll appreciate the salt, the sour, the savory, and of course the sweet. It never has to be learned. That's just instant gratification. It happens,
Here's a couple questions. This one is just a comment from Alexandra, and then she has a question later. She said, sometimes I look at the amount of supplements I take and think, wow, I'm really in bad shape, because it's like, oh, we got to take a lot. Is there something you can speak on for that?
I can. It is, I would say it's okay to be frustrated with that and to see that your product regimen is huge or seemingly irrational. But the reality is if there is a therapeutic rationale, if somebody can explain to you why you're on what you're on, and when you start really getting into the science of food, we learn that there should be 65 75, 85 different trace elements and minerals in the soil that plant was grown in. And due to modernized agricultural and expedited processes, I need it and I need it yesterday, they are not doing appropriate crop rotation. It is expensive to make sure that the soils are rich and dense with real mineral laden richness. That in Bernard Jensen and Mark Anderson's book Empty Harvest, they kind of in the first 45 pages paint the picture that we have a bountiful amount of produce and food available, but yet there's no nutrition in the minerals or in the vitamins and minerals in the soil that plant can pull up, and so we're eating a bountiful amount of food, but our nutrient density is low. So we've created this weird paradox where we're not getting everything we need from the food, from a vitamin, mineral, essential fatty acid perspective, and we have to supplement to some degree. And so if you're on a large program and protocol, recognize that you might be working on multiple systems at once. So let's just say we're working in the neurological centers or the endocrine centers or the digestive centers or the liver or the adrenals, and all of a sudden you find yourself on quite a few products. You're not taking the same product in 20 different bottles. You're taking different formulations that drive different metabolic processes all at the same time, instead of having to wait and overhaul this and then wait and overhaul this and then wait and overhaul this. And then you bridge that, because remember, these are supplements. They supplement a healthy diet. So we don't put in cheeseburgers and junk food. We don't put in the boxed processed foods. We avoid packaged foods with labels as much as we can. And then all of a sudden you find yourself 70% of the time eating healthy, good food, and you've got some room for error and margin in the 30%. So you're always moving forward at a net positive 4 steps forward, and then you're supplementing to help push you up over that 50% mark. So you're moving forward with your aging process, not aging too fast, what we call accelerated aging. And so when people have symptom patterns, a lot of symptom patterns, and we go through our health history and we start asking questions, and we figure out that they've got allergies and they got GI trouble and they got sleep issues and they're moody as all get out and their hormones are wrecked and their brain is not working mid-afternoon and they're constantly just struggling to get through their day because they have no energy. Well, there's a lot of systems at play there. It's not as simple as just, here, take this one a day. Anything that says it can serve you at one a day is just foolishness, because people eat more than one meal a day. Now I know we're being trained that we can eat less, or we can eat certain types of modernized dieting that should be reset diets, not lifestyle diets, but they can be definitely used to help integrate change. The challenge with a lot of diets is that people don't stick to them, and so we need to really change the word diet to what?
It's a lifestyle, or it's just
something.
a choice.
Like that lifestyle word is a really big word that helps people grasp that change is on them. They really have to embrace it. And if you recognize, and when we start, now that we found some really cool food allergy tests that we've been working with. It's amazing, man. If your body's got a negative response to it, I got a friend who looked at he's a geneticist as a hobby, but he's pretty brilliant, and he found the SNPs in his wife's genes, and not her blue genes, but her gene code. Sorry, that was a terrible dad joke. But found the SNPs that carried her allergies to food. And I'm like, that's cool. You know what I mean? I know that it's out there like that, but he was able to figure it out through all the data And he was like, oh, it's on number 16 and number 22, and no wonder she's got. I mean, it's
right here. Yeah, it makes sense.
And oh, and by the way, honey, you pass this on to our kids, and so there's that possibility that if mom has now a leaky gut, she is more sensitive to those particular foods, and they could be foods like eggs. Like 15% of the population can't do eggs. How sad is that, But we have to find a way to get those essential amino acids and those carbs and those proteins and those fats to come into that diet now. We have to find it from another source. Or it could be from wheat, or it could be from dairy products, or it could be from sugar. And sometimes people need to see inflammatory responses via a test to prove to themselves that, hey, you know what? Maybe I do need to get off that for the next 90 days to 6 months. And it might just be during that 3-month window, the goal is to allow us at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center to rebuild your GI tract. And by rebuilding your GI tract, you're able to seal and heal and block off some of those bigger proteins that are trying to sneak in and create inflammation in your blood and rob you of good health. Instead, now we can buy some time through these programs that we build for people to seal off. I had a lady that I really did. I thought she was going to come back with worms and parasites and inflammation galore and all kinds of different toxicology issues in her GI stool sample that we did, and she responded beautifully, by the way, to inside of 30 days, just starting the protocol. It hasn't even technically 4 weeks yet. But she came in with tons of stuff going on in her GI tract, a lot of feeling like there was things crawling under her skin, and she was just miserable. And I mean, to the point that people are saying, like this particular person was like, it's hard to even focus on my spiritual life because I got so much stuff going on in my body. Like, I can feel things not right. Mm-hmm. And I've been to every doctor and I've been to every person, and nobody can fix this. And I'm really praying and hoping that you can help me, because I don't want to be another statistic. And Lord knows we don't want no more statistics of, failed cases. I mean, there's enough of that. And so we start getting into this protocol, and we start changing just a couple things on her diet, nothing serious, and we added a couple extra things to her program. Remember, she's been to everywhere, so she's got a lot of things. So we didn't just destroy her whole what she knows. We said, all right, keep doing what you're doing, and let me add to what you're doing. And she goes, I can't believe it. I feel significantly different. Like, I don't feel as much of that weird, crazy going on in my stomach. I don't feel that as much of that skin crawling and disruptive nature. I feel better as a person, and it's just going to get better. Then we got her stool test back, and she did not have, the things that we thought would be there, but we did see a lot of dysbiosis where she had opportunistic bugs that were overtaking her good bacteria and suppressing it. And so if you don't have good bacteria to enhance absorption of nutrients, that's a problem, right? And so what we had to do is do a little weed and feed. We had to de-weed the bad opportunistic bugs down, giving her normal good flora an opportunity to blossom and to grow. And so when people start seeing that they have food allergies or they feel food allergens when we remove them through food allergy elimination, they start to really grasp that food is medicine. And so if you're in a health situation where you've got some sort of cancer or if you've got some sort of major autoimmune condition, don't be the insane person that just keeps doing what you've been doing thinking it's going to get better. Man, take the bull by the horns and change something. And what do you do a lot of? You consume things in your mouth, in your air, in your skin, over your skin. There's so many ways of entry of toxins to come into our lives today. And so we got to start looking, if you've got some of these major health challenges, whether it's diabetes or heart disease or a skin rash or some things like migraines, things like neurological memory loss or hormone challenges, mood issues, we start looking at some of these what we call upstream systems, like your GI tract, your liver, and we start cleaning these things out, and we will see amazing shifts begin to occur just by taking the burden off of the drain pipes. And I think it's just fascinating that the body responds so well and oftentimes effortlessly once you just get to the root cause. And we've ultimately set out to find that root cause that's driving people's health into the tank. We don't want you to be in a state of accelerated aging. Accelerated aging is that spot where you recognize, dude, 2 years ago I could do that, and I cannot do it anymore. And you start going, why is that? Is it because, one, okay, maybe you haven't been on a skateboard in 20 years and you've lost it. Okay, fine. Maybe you haven't done a backflip on a trampoline in 5 years and you've maybe lost it. Okay, it's possible. But what if it's like simple stuff, like turning the jar, the lid off a jar? You don't have the hand strength to do that, and all your little tricks and tactics don't work. What if it's that you got rigidity, ratchety, neurological systems, and you're shaking and you can't keep a steady hand to paint your own nails, or what I mean? Like, it could be simple things, sewing. I've seen all kinds of stuff that are very, very disruptive to people's lifestyle, and it really works them over mentally because they can't do what they used to be able to do that are simple. I always joke, like, golf is a game that you should be able to play forever, because you always see, even the old guys out there rocking it, And maybe some of the, women, they're out, constantly sewing and knitting and doing stuff, and we don't realize that, all those things creates wear and tear, repetitive use injury, and if there isn't if there isn't regeneration happening in those tissues, you could find yourself debilitated to a point where you're not able to do that very cool thing that you want to do.
How would you regenerate that in your hands?
So it could be collagen. We do collagen restoration. It could be detoxification. So maybe you don't have enough nutrients to regenerate the tissue. So recovery is always an important factor, right? How are you recovering at least as fast as you're breaking down? Hopefully faster, right? That's anti-aging. But what if it's toxicity, especially like in your hands? So you're a guitar player, so dexterity is important. Being able to, find those, spatial recognition of those strings is important so that you can stay in time and rhythm. And so your body stores toxins in the brain. Well, if your brain is misfiring because it's having to work around toxins, you might be missing notes. You might not be as crisp and as sharp in how your hands move up and down that fretboard, or running across the keys if you're a pianist, or if you're banging on some a hi-hat or snare drum or whatever. So all the different it's just musical intervention, but it could be, like I said, sewing, it could be cooking, it could be kitchen work, it could be your hobby in the garage, anything that requires like those fine motor skills to be kicking. Your body stores toxins in the joint capsules, especially what we call the distal extremities, the extremities that are far away from the vital organs. Do you want toxins in your heart, or would you rather a toxin be out in your finger?
Yeah, away from the heart.
Away from the heart. Nobody really wants their finger to be cut off because it's not working or dysfunctional. But from a survival perspective, you can live without, some of your fingers. Technically, you can live without your hand, live, or survive. But your body does things from a survival. What's going to help me live the longest? So it will prune off things that are burdened to a point of debilitation. So that's what happens, is the hands begin to become decrepit because the body's storing toxins in those far away places, trying to protect your vital core. And so we want to get involved with people and help clean out these tissues, activate their detox pathways, their cleansing bowel pathways, and open up the channels so that things begin to flow like they're supposed to. And there we start seeing symptoms change. So now, instead of you suffering with migraines or energy crashes or skin issues or blood pressure challenges or cholesterol issues or belly pains, you start seeing wonderful, wonderful transitions back towards ideal health.
Here's a couple questions that have come in. Alexandra was asking about the asparagus, because you had mentioned eating it raw, and then she was saying, hey, can I not can we not cook it?
Yeah, you can.
And then there's another question asking spinach or kale, and I'm wondering if it's, hey, what's better for you, or what do you prefer?
So, every detox that I've done, I've just learned to eat old foods a new way, add different spices to it to make it taste different, because a lot of vegetables just take on the flavor of spice. And so absolutely you can cook it. I just found that I'm at a spot in my life right now where I'd rather eat asparagus raw than to eat asparagus or lightly steamed rather than it being like mushy.
And that's 42 detoxes in.
And And so every detox that I've done, I discover something new that I enjoyed, whether it's mushrooms with some Mediterranean spice and balsamic vinegar and olive oil, in an air fryer. I think that is it tastes good to me. I like that, like a big old portobello kind. So no, you can cook food, absolutely. I was making a point to. Every time you detox and you put yourself in a state where you have to forage for new food and kind of figure out some new ideas because you don't want to get bored with the old hat of, patterns of living. And if all I eat is like one or two foods, like if all you're eating is carrots, hopefully you'll find that maybe you're willing to try some artichoke, and when you sink your teeth into when you buy an artichoke and you're like, what am I gonna do with that? And what we do with artichoke, for example, is we boil that. We also melt some butter and a little bit of salt and a little bit of garlic powder, and we dip the leaves in the garlic butter and scrape what little bit of meat off of the leaf all the way down to the heart. And then you take out the little fuzzy part that's on top of the heart. And then, man, it's like a buttercup. You just stick it in your little butter, and you just gnaw and eat that up, and it's so soft, so tender, so delicious. And, I mean, me and my kids, I borderline fight them for it, because they'll eat it right up. They'll eat it right out of my hand. They're like, give it to me. But yet, an artichoke requires a fair amount of work to get down to that heart, And so, but yeah, we cook food. I mean, I'm definitely for seasons of vegetarian, vegan, raw, but I also cook food. I eat a lot of protein, chicken, fish, turkey, eggs. I do cook a lot of my veggies. I steam them lightly because I'm trying to preserve as much of the nutrients in there. And I just don't always like eating cold food either. I'm human, but I also am willing to eat cold food because I don't always have access to cooking or even have the time. So when I do a lot of meal preps and stuff, my food's already packed. And so I have to just eat it on the fly as I'm working with people throughout the day. And so I think that, fairly answered that question. What was the other one?
So it was spinach or kale.
So like spinach or kale as a better for?
Maybe better for. What do you prefer? What can you do more stuff with? Yeah.
So spinach, I eat it raw. Spinach, I put it in a skillet with lemon juice and a little bit of butter and salt and pepper, and boom, I eat that with my eggs in the morning. I'll put kale. I love to put now I just use the avocado or olive oil sprays, and I throw it in an oven because they sell kale that's already been chopped up, and I'll put it on parchment paper, 420 degrees for 8 to 12 minutes until that kale gets crispy. Maybe flip it a time or two in there to make sure it gets real good and crispy. You pull that out, it tastes like a chip. Love it.
Like it.
And so, but I also, another fun dish that we made one time is we took quinoa, red quinoa, and we boiled it, and so it was soft. And then we took avocado and kale, and we took the kale again, full pieces of kale, and we cut them long ways. And it took a little time, but it was fun, and because we'd never done it before. And then you get the kids, obviously, after they wash their hands, and you get them to put their hands in there and squeeze the avocado, the lemon juice, a little pinch of cayenne maybe, a little garlic powder, maybe a little garlic flakes, and you squeeze all that stuff together. You squeeze and you just watch the kale, squirt out your fingers and the avocado move out your fingers, and then, you wipe it off the best you can, and then you wash your hands, and then you eat that as a kale avocado quinoa salad, and man, it's awesome.
Okay, here's another comment. It said, we need a session of how to cook healthy with an air fryer with Dr. Chapa. I want to know what he makes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then Living Well answered and said, hey, there's a meetup tonight.
And we can definitely go through those. So, again, 6:30 this evening at the office. We want you to be tuned in and get involved. Be a part of it, because here's the deal. Whenever you're around the campfire, you're going to find warmth. You're going to find ideas. You're going to find new ways of doing things that you need to get through the 21-day Ultimate Detox experience.
So you can come, ask questions, get some knowledge, and maybe Dr. Chapa will cut you off a piece of one of his pears.
Yeah, because for the next week, for this week, I'm going to be eating pretty slim pickings here.
And then you're going to be in that 21-day vacation where you don't have to just eat apples and pears. You're going to be like, oh, I can eat kale and spinach and all kinds of other things. Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, butternut squash, mushrooms, portobellos.
Yeah. So last week whenever Molly was in, I asked her a question because I noticed and remembered during her last detox, she was trying to make it through as a personal goal of not eating a salad. She's like, I just don't want to eat a salad. And so I was asking her, are you doing something
crazy?
Yeah, during this time, like, okay, now I'm going to be able to eat a salad, but maybe I'm going to not cook my vegetables, or I'm only going to steam them. Is there something, and I know you change it up all the time, but have you seen a lot of people do that, get creative with it?
Yes, and I think that helps people. Everybody loves playing games. And so when you play games, like one of the games that I played this year, just with my normal diet, was I just dropped the salt. I mean, even my Himalayan salts, that I really think are powerful and wonderful, I dropped those out of my diet. And I was just shocked at how much, salt affected my system. And I just didn't realize how much I was relying on salty spices to, bring flavor to my day.
I ate some eggs this morning, Dr. Chapa, and
sprinkle salt all over
put
that.
A little salt. I tried to go easy on it because I was thinking I'm going to be talking to you later, and you'll be able to look at me and tell my face,
up, yeah.
Be like, you had a little too much salt this morning, didn't you?
And not enough water, right? So, something you could do with eggs that is really fun is you can sprinkle cinnamon over the top of an egg. And people go, ooh, that's gross. But most people love French toast. And so the smell of French toast is the butter, the egg, and the cinnamon coming together. And it smells. So when you sprinkle cinnamon over your eggs, it smells just like French toast. And so you trick your brain. And now my kids will pour, cinnamon all over their eggs in the morning when they want a kind of a sweet treat. In the evening time when they have breakfast for dinner, they'll just use the salt and it's kind of fun, to find what you're in the mood for when. So they took the same meal concept, if you will, and made it more breakfasty in the morning, and then made it more like dinner, if you will, in the evening. So we just have to be willing to get out of the routine of habit. America has convinced us that all breakfast has to taste what?
Sweet.
Mm-hmm. If it's not sweet, it ain't good. But that's not true. The sugar is more detrimental to your health, more inflammatory to your health than is worth putting in. The sugar, you cannot outrun the effects, especially the negative effects of sugar. It will add up, and it will catch you, and it will kick you in the pants. So we want to encourage people to always be looking at their diet as food is your medicine. Or, I hate to say, food may very well be your poison. And if it's your poison, you got a choice. Stop doing it and let us help you find an alternative to it. Or the bitter pill that we talked about earlier. You have to sleep in the bed that you
continue down the path.
Yeah. And it is a bitter pill because we all would like to have a easy way out. Like, I mean, I'd love to eat, cheeseburgers and milkshakes and french fries and call myself healthy. But you just can't outrun a bad diet. I mean, you can't outrun your genes. If you activate the wrong gene code expression, and you could have expressed longevity and vitality, but you expressed heart disease and diabetes, well, I mean, you just programmed it wrong. But just because you programmed it wrong doesn't mean you can't reprogram it. You got to understand that there's going to be a little bit of a delay, and there's going to be a little bit of a work on your end. And it's either you pay now or you pay later. Typically, when you pay later, you pay more. Interest that you pay on the front end by taking the bull by the horns early in life is what we call prevention. When it's on the back end, they say an ounce of prevention, by the way, is worth a pound of cure. And so if you wait to the end, a pound of cure is costly. And so we want to do an ounce of prevention on the front end, planting your oak tree when? Today.
Yeah.
I mean, don't wait 20 years, from now to start planting. But start right now where you're at, because we know that whatever your body has developed, it will undevelop. And that's an exciting place to know that no matter what you got going on and where your health is, you can get better and stay better one bite at a time. So remember, tonight, 6:30 p.m., Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, we're going to be talking about detox. We're going to be all the ins and outs of how to live well, be well on a detox. And we're going to be starting our global kind of kickoff is going to be the 11th. But we're going to be talking about tonight how-tos, because we won't be talking about the how-tos during the classes. The classes that we'll be offering will be at Butler's Courtyard, and we're going to be teaching people how to live better, be better, stay better. We're expecting just a great community of people to come together and go through this together. Togetherness in the community makes it fun, and we just want you guys to all be encouraged to work the process. If you're not detoxing in the 21st century, you're missing a huge piece of your healthcare plan. So make sure that you tune in, stay close to the campfire. We'll keep you warm this new January so that you kick off into the right direction towards your goals and not slip down the slippery slope away from your goals. So God bless you all. Hope that everybody has a great afternoon, and we will see you tonight, 6:30 at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center for Detox Class 101.
All right. So something else somebody mentioned was that it's going to be live streamed. So if you can't make it, or you make it and you want to go back and watch it again, or like, what was that Dr. Chopper said about this, or what were the recipes? All of that is going to be live streamed. So it's a great resource to go back and learn again if you can't remember it.
Technology is so cool.
Write it all down. Yeah, I love it. I love it. So, again, that's tonight at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center in Leak City. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM.
God bless you.